We open with our main protagonist, Fei, in the pouring rain, seemingly in a battle against a horde of other fighters. And despite his many injuries, he puts up a fair fight against the onslaught of men. His skills in martial arts and fast reaction time gain him the upper hand until he's eventually overwhelmed and knocked to the floor. In his days, he remembers his youth with his father. They ran an orphanage and tried their best to save lost children. And one day, they stumble upon a boy who's passed out from exhaustion. In an attempt to save his life, they try acupuncture. Fei gets invested in the boy's life and promises to save him, claiming that he's invincible. Flash forward in time, and we're given a little history lesson about the dark times of the country. Many souls are lost in the sea because of unsafe work hazards and corrupt capitalism. Taking center stage is two gangs, the Black Tiger Gang and the North Sea Gang. Mobsters in their own right, with many monopolies. In true mob fashion, they replace their lowly grunts quickly with desperate workers trying to make a living. Amongst the hierarchy of the Black Tiger Gang, there are three bosses that we're introduced to: North Evil, the ruthless guy, Black Crow, the gold digger, and Old Snake, the perv. Each equally controls the gang as acting generals. Fei, also known as Little Fei, our protagonist, has made the decision that he wants to be one of the bosses of the gang. He's amongst a group of fighters called the Daredevil Warriors. As longtime members of the gang, they're considered elite. They're called in to meet the head of the organization, Master Li. A traitor who was caught is killed for his misdeeds in front of everyone. While everyone's flinching at this sight, Fei stands strong and unmoved, not afraid of death. Even when hot tea is poured onto the hands of each member, Fei's the only one that doesn't flinch, a true bad. And as it turns out, the Daredevil Warriors have been given the assignment to kill the head of their rival gang. And as a reward for whoever achieves this goal, they'll be named a Black Tiger and join Master Li's side as one of the Tiger Generals. Fast forward in time, and Fei is locked in an epic battle with the leader of the North Sea. Before we go on, like the video, smash the subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join our expendable squad. He only slightly struggles as he manages to decapitate him with his own sword. In an attempt to escape, he jumps out the window and into the street. Cut back to the scene from the beginning of the movie, and we're treated to a long scene of Fei basically kicking hundreds of gang members' single-handedly. He only manages to escape when one of his fellow gang members sets off fireworks to distract everyone and pull Fei to safety. Now at the Black Tiger headquarters, everyone surrounds an unconscious Fei, impressed by his achievement. Master Li adopts him as his son, thus making him a leader amongst the gang. He instructs everyone that Fei is not allowed to die and scolds his three other sons for lacking the killer instinct that Fei has. He's taken care of by another member of the Daredevil Warriors that he met earlier. The man sort of imposes himself on Fei as a friend, insisting that they're best buds now. Fei doesn't necessarily agree, but lets him stick around. And as he tries to recover from his injuries, he thinks back to his childhood again. He and his adoptive siblings were quite close, but he lost a girl named Little Fa to a gang member. Elsewhere, the new head of the North Sea Gang, the son of its former leader, vows to take vengeance. Fei gets a cool tiger tattoo, and we find out his dad was a as well. We also learn about the keys that open the vault with all of the gang's money. Later that night, Fei is officially inducted as the fourth son of Master Li, and the Black Tigers completely take over the pier. So some time passes by, and Fei has settled into his role as a mob boss. He has a side chick named Orchid, and he regularly has nightmares about Little Fa, worried that she drifted into prostitution. Haunted by his past as a child, we find out that there was a fire that killed his father and burnt down the orphanage that he grew up in. So at dinner, he's accepted by the gang as a member of the family. Everyone except for Evil North, who doesn't accept. We get a lot of jealous brother vibes. And while the other brothers are trying to get along with Fei, Evil North tries to instigate a fight instead. Fei keeps his cool and manages to give him a verbal beating instead. And this sparks a heated fight between Evil North and Black Crow. The two have a clear distaste for one another, and it's only Master Fei who manages to put them in their place. Elsewhere, we get caught up with Fei's childhood friends, Fiery and Chun. They seem to be doing alright, I guess. Not really. Fiery clearly likes Chun, but Chun doesn't like him back because she's hung up on Fee. So the next day, the Black Tiger Gang is tasked with getting 300 bodies for a shipment across the sea. Master Lee accepts the offer, and he and Fee have a powwow about how to lure out the new head of the North Sea. You see, in the past, we gain a peek into the life of Fee after his father's death. So as it turns out, Fee and his brother were taken in by a monk and trained for many years in martial arts. When they finally returned, they formed a group called the Orphan Gang. With this new information that Fee has gathered as a son of Master Lee, Fiery and his gang ambush Old Snake for the golden key entrusted to him. A plan many years in the making begins to unfold. They quickly killed Old Snake by crushing him with bamboo and kicking him into an outhouse. But instead of stealing the key, they make a mold of it for their scheme. And in the wake of Old Snake's ass-whooping, the gold key is entrusted to North Evil. This is where the plot thickens. Knowing that Black Crow and North Evil don't like each other, Fee plots them against each other with the fake gold key. To make sure that Fee wasn't lying, Black Crow tests the key on the vault and foolishly shows Fee the whereabouts of the gang's money. With Black Crow successfully in the fold, Fee convinces him that Evil North is out to betray the gang. Fee drops the information on the vault to his brother, and a plan to rob the vault begins to unfold. Using spy techniques like hiding notes in the mouth of a fish and in the seams of a dress, the two groups coordinate their efforts. Side note, Fee's little side chick is also the one communicating directly with his childhood sweetheart Chun, and the jealousy is palpitating when Chun sees them together. Orchid takes advantage of Fee's mixed feelings about Chun and tries to convince him to give them up and focus on his path to the top. I'm fairly certain she also just wants him to herself. Anyways, that night, the lowered amount of guards finally lures out the missing head of the North Sea gang. He tries to ambush Fee and Master Lee when they're seemingly alone, but the dude forgets that they're martial arts masters. Master Lee's surprisingly super spry for his age and goes to work against the background fodder, while Fee gets into a one-on-one against the head honcho. The match is very closely fought, and Fee nearly loses a few times. It's only by the quick assistance of Master Lee that Fee escapes a fatal blow and manages to defeat the man. He tries to spare him at first, but Master Lee kicks the sword into the man's gut and kills him. Now across town, the Orphan Gang is causing chaos. They set a bunch of buildings related to the Black Tiger Gang on fire and lure out the Black Crow. Many of the Black Tiger members try to stop Fiery, but they're no match for him, and he quickly gets to work killing the waves of fighters. With Black Crow separated from the rest of the gang, he's surrounded by Fee and his gang. Chun's parents were killed by the Black Crow, and with the help of Fee, she finally takes revenge and kills him. While all that is happening, Fiery may or may not be getting overwhelmed by the onslaught of fighters. Chun and Fee have a little heart-to-heart, and Fee admits he has feelings for her. Unfortunate timing, because when Fee returns, he finds Fiery strung up and blooded. He's instructed to beat him up, but the commotion of the vault being raided draws their attention outside. Fee and Fiery take the opportunity to have one last conversation. Fiery has accepted his fate and knows that he must die in order to maintain Fee's cover. Their dream of freeing the slave trade must take priority over Fiery's life. Despite Fee arguing against it, he allows Fiery's fate to unfold. When Master Lee returns, he asks Fee to cut out Fiery's tongue. Fee almost does, but is interrupted when the Black Crow's body's brought in. It has a bruise with the same shape as the North Evil's cane, and the situation makes him look very suspicious. When North Evil tries to interrogate Fiery, Fiery whispers into his ear and kills himself against the sword pressed against his neck. The dramatic death makes it look like North Evil is trying to cover up his tracks, and thus Master Lee grows even more suspicious of him. Fiery's death really affects Fee. As he thinks back to their time on the mountain together, it was only by chance that he was the one that infiltrated the gang. It could have just as easily been him that was strung up and killed. So on the following day, Fee cries to Orchid about Fiery's death. Without his best friend, he questions if everything they've been doing is worth it. With North Evil being one of the last sons alive, he's next in line for the throne. However, if he's killed, it'll make Fee the obvious suspect. More so, Fee has failed to locate the 300 missing workers that they plan to sell. So Fee's little buddy from the beginning of the movie overhears this, but decides to keep it to himself. And at the harbor, he plays a blind man to tell a story that indicates the mole is on the premises. Upon hearing this story being told, Master Lee commands the storyteller to listen to each of the members' voices and pick out the voice that he recognizes. One by one, each member whispers into the man's ear. But when it's Lee's turn, he tells the blind man that this group was the one that caused all the chaos. Being one of the people to benefit from last night's raid, he covers for Fee and clears him of suspicion. That night, North Evil goes for a nice little spa day by himself. Unfortunately for him, he's interrupted by Orchid, and Orchid reveals that her real name is Fa, as in the little Fa that was kidnapped when Fee was a kid. When she found him 3 years ago, she saved him. She never revealed her identity to him and gained his trust, but as much as she loves him, she's not the one he loves. She tells North Evil that because of this, she wants to find a new sugar daddy. She lures him in with her charm, and at the very last second, before he forces himself on her, she tries to kill him. North Evil's fast, however, and quickly counters her attempt. He drowns her in a bath before moving on to the next woman, Chun. But Chun catches him by surprise and slits his throat. At the cost of Fa's life, they were able to take the life of North Evil. And elsewhere, on one of Fee's escort missions with the boss, he discovers the whereabouts of the 300 missing slaves, completely unaware of his friend's death. Fee doesn't take the news very well and demands a revolution as recompense. Now that all the pieces have fallen into place, it's time to raise hell. He buries yet another childhood friend next to Fiery, and alongside his hundreds of fellow oppressed orphans, they begin the Great Revolt. With his cover blown, a manhunt for him begins, and the city begins the revolt. It's an all-out war between the orphan gang and the Black Tigers. Fee does his best to train his army, and in the midst of the chaos, everyone begins to take a side. Even his little buddy shows out, turning out he's equally as bad, not just a comic relief. His guerrilla fighters set the 300 slaves free, and together they march to the front of Black Tiger Gang's facility. In a classic kung fu movie fashion, Fee challenges Master Lee to a duel. In order to avoid any more bloodshed, both agree. Fee is brought into the building, and he lights a couple of candles to set the mood. With the intention to burn down the entire dock to set the people of the city free, Fee begins his epic fight to the death against Lee. All the fight's intense. Things fall from the ceiling, almost killing Fee, and he gets kicked into the fire that he shrugs off in probably one of the coolest ways possible. The fire only gets worse, though, as the battle continues. The Black Tiger Gang tries to put it out while the rest of the civilians look on helplessly. Despite how bad both fighters are, the fire even begins to affect them. They feel the burning heat of the fire at their feet, and it forces them to continue climbing into the rafters. The fight's going on, both fighters heavily affected by the heat, and Fee almost falls to his death, but by the skin of his teeth manages to escape and reposition himself for the fight. And we get a series of acrobatic movements. Fee is able to knock Lee off the rafters. He tries to be the hero and save him from falling to his death, but Lee refuses his help and allows himself to be engulfed by the flames. With the death of Master Lee, Fee opens up his own business and oversees a more just city run by him and his gang of orphans. So what'd you think? How far would you go for vengeance? Do you think you could sacrifice on the same level as Fee? Let us know in the comment section below with the hashtag CinemaRecap.